Welcome to Case Files, the show that explores the complex human dramas behind the crimes. I'm your host, Alex. With me is our lead storyteller, Ben.
Good to be here.
Ben, you have a story for us today that seems to be a classic tale of infidelity, but you've hinted that there's much more to it.
That's right, Alex. This story starts with a betrayal, but it spirals into a web of blackmail, desperation, and murder. It's a story about a family that had everything on the surface, but was crumbling from the inside. And it all begins with a lonely wife named Nisreen.
Set the scene for us. Who was Nisreen?
Nisreen was in her 40s, married to a successful businessman who owned an import-export company. They had one daughter, Maya, a university student. From the outside, they were a wealthy, respectable family living in a villa. But inside, the family was fractured.
How so?
The husband was a workaholic, constantly traveling, treating his home like a hotel. He was emotionally and physically absent. This left Nisreen feeling neglected and incredibly lonely. Their daughter, Maya, was also struggling. Despite being intelligent and attending a private university, she was introverted, suffered from social anxiety, and spent most of her time either at college or locked away in her room.
So you have a mother and daughter, both isolated in their own ways, living in the same house but worlds apart.
Exactly. Nisreen spent most of her days at the local country club trying to fill the void. And it's there, at the club's cafeteria, that she meets Moatasem.
And who was Moatasem?
He was a handsome, charming waiter in his early 20s. He was polite, well-dressed, and had a silver tongue. He was particularly attentive to the older, wealthier women at the club, including Nisreen.
He saw an opportunity.
He did. And Nisreen, starved for attention, fell for it completely. She was captivated by this young man who treated her with respect and flirted with her. The age gap didn't matter. To her, he was proof that she was still desirable. She started going to the club just to talk to him, tipping him generously.
And Moatasem, being savvy, played along.
He saw a lonely, wealthy woman and knew exactly what he was doing. They began an affair. It was transactional. She wanted to feel wanted, and he wanted her money. To keep their meetings private, Nisreen bought him an apartment in a different part of the city and put it in his name.
That's a huge step. She was all in.
She was. But after a few months, guilt started to set in. She tried to reconnect with her husband, pleading with him to pay more attention to her and their family, but he brushed her off, saying his hard work was all for them.
Feeling rejected and having, in her mind, tried, she felt justified in continuing her affair with Moatasem. But this couldn't last forever.
It couldn't. The guilt became too much. Nisreen decided she had to end it. She called Moatasem and told him their relationship was a mistake. And that's when the charming waiter showed his true colors.
The blackmail begins.
He revealed he had secretly filmed their encounters in the apartment. He told her, "I was waiting for this moment. I have videos of everything. If you try to leave me, your husband, your daughter, everyone will see them." He sent her a few clips to prove it. She was trapped.
So she was completely under his control.
Totally. He demanded a monthly payment and that she continue their physical relationship whenever he wanted. She became his prisoner. The joy she once felt was replaced by fear and obligation. Her behavior changed dramatically. She became anxious, withdrawn, and her daughter Maya noticed.
Maya, the introverted daughter, starts to see that something is wrong with her mother.
Yes. Then, by a cruel twist of fate, one of Maya's friends was in the same neighborhood as the secret apartment and saw Nisreen going into the building with Moatasem. The friend called Maya and told her what she saw.
And the pieces start to click into place for Maya.
They do. Maya, despite her anxieties, decided to follow her mother. She saw them go into the apartment together. Devastated, she went home and waited to confront Nisreen. When her mother returned, Nisreen broke it and confessed everything to her daughter.
How did Maya react to this? This is a huge burden for a young woman to carry.
Instead of judgment, Maya was filled with a protective rage. She was furious at Moatasem for what he was doing to her mother. She took his number and called him, thinking she could intimidate him into backing off. But he just laughed at her.
He wasn't threatened by her at all.
No. In fact, he turned the tables. He told Maya he'd seen her at the club and had her photos from her mother's phone. He made her a sickening offer. "I'll let your mother go if you take her place." he tried to blackmail the daughter into becoming his new victim.
Yes, Maya was horrified. She and her mother were now trapped together. They realized that even if they paid him, the blackmail would never end. He would always have the videos. In their desperation, they came to a terrible conclusion.
They decided they had to kill him.
It was Maya's idea. She told her mother it was the only way out. She would call Moatasem, agree to his terms, and lure him to their villa. The plan was simple: get him there, drug him, and then kill him.
And the plan worked.
It did.
Moatasem, blinded by his own arrogance, walked right into their trap. Maya gave him a glass of juice laced with a powerful sedative. Once he was unconscious, she and her mother strangled him with a rope. They then wrapped his body in a sheet, put it in the trunk of their car, and dumped it on a remote street. They went home, destroyed his phone, and believed they had committed the perfect crime.
But the perfect crime rarely exists.
Rarely. The body was quickly discovered. The police identified Moatasem after his father filed a missing person report. The investigation led them to the secret apartment, and on his laptop, they found the treasure trove, copies of all the videos he'd used to blackmail Nisreen.
So they had their motive and their suspects.
It was a quick path to their door. When arrested, Nisreen confessed immediately, implicating her daughter as well. At the trial, Nisreen was sentenced to life in prison. Maya, for her role, received a 15-year sentence.
And the husband, the man whose absence started this whole chain of events.
He was shattered. He divorced his wife, disowned his daughter, sold everything he owned in Egypt, and disappeared, moving to another country to escape the scandal.
It's a story where everyone loses, but the original narrator places the ultimate blame on the husband's neglect.
He does. He argues that while Nisreen and Maya committed the crime, it was the husband's emotional abandonment that created the void that Moatasem was able to exploit. The emotional vacuum in that house led to a catastrophic series of bad decisions. It's a tragic reminder that neglect can be a crime in itself, with consequences just as deadly as any weapon.
A powerful and deeply tragic story about how one family's dysfunction led to a complete implosion. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ben. If our listeners were captivated by this story, please show your support. Like this video, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into true crime, and share it with others. It truly helps us grow and bring more cases like this to light.
We appreciate it.
That's our show for today. We'll see you next time on Case Files.